Sometimes it feels like the world insists on sharing only the loudest and most urgent news. This is 10 Better Minutes, a podcast that shines a light on quieter moments from recent days, offering a steadier view without ignoring life's difficulties. I am your host, Ian Rhodes, and I am glad you're here spending a few minutes with me. Today's stories invite you to notice the softer rhythms of kindness and care that often go unnoticed. To begin, I want to share a story about an 11-year-old boy in Florida who spends his time reading to shelter animals, helping them find a calm place in a busy world. 11-year-old Nehemiah Turner in Florida decided that his love of reading could do more than fill a page. Each visit to the Jacksonville Humane Society, he showed up with his grandmother, bringing a steady routine and an open voice for shelter dogs waiting in kennels. Through the Jacksonville Humane Society Positive Reading Program, children read aloud to animals, and Nehemiah learned how even quiet, consistent attention can help create a calm, comforting space. More than 2 years of showing up, reading, and coming back added up in a remarkable way. In June, Nehemiah reached 100 volunteer hours, becoming the first child in the program history to do so. The Humane Society presented him with a certificate, and CEO Lawrence Nicholas praised his dedication and the way Nehemiah kept choosing kindness as part of his everyday life. What makes this story so encouraging is that Nehemiah did not set out for a big milestone. He simply kept his promise to return, to read carefully, and to treat each dog as someone worth taking time for. And the good news is that his growth did not stop at 100. He is already planning new goals, aiming for 110, then 150, and even 200 reading hours, while strengthening his own literacy along the way. If you have ever wondered whether small efforts matter, Nehemiah offers a clear answer: yes. It is one thing to watch a movie together at home and another thing to bring that same spark into a place where time can feel long. This story reminds me that comfort can be designed with care. Disney partnered with the Starlight Children's Foundation to turn hospital spaces into immersive Toy Story 5 screening events for kids and families. Instead of only bringing the film, they also made it feel personal, with more than 18,000 Toy Story 5 themed toys and about 34,000 character-inspired hospital gowns. At the Los Angeles premiere, cast members and guests wrote encouragement messages, and those notes eventually traveled to hospitals, shown in places like Washington, D.C., Oakland, and Orlando. What I love is the small but steady message hidden inside all of it. Kids who might be waiting for the next appointment still got to sit in a special screening, meet a familiar spirit of fun, and join drawing sessions guided by Pixar animators. And for families, those moments are not just entertainment. They are a brief doorway back into normal, back into laughter, and back into connection. You know that feeling when something familiar shows up at exactly the right moment, like someone remembered you. That is what this partnership did, and it landed in more than 400 children's hospitals worldwide. After decades in a traveling spotlight, one elephant's future in Portugal had been suddenly narrowed to a single question. Where could she go when performances were no longer allowed? What made the difference was that Pangaea Elephant Sanctuary reached out to Julie's former owner and quietly made a plan for a new beginning. While the sanctuary in Alentejo was still taking shape across its 1,000-acre grounds, with barns and fences under development, they coordinated Julie's move so she would not have to wait for everything to be perfect. On June 30th, Julie traveled about 3 hours by truck from the Victor Hugo Cardinale circus grounds to her new home. It is a simple detail, but it carries a lot of meaning because it meant someone chose action over uncertainty, care over delay. Soon after the ride, Julie settled in, and the sanctuary set its focus where it belongs, on her quality of life. Managing Director Kate Moore emphasized that the goal is to help Julie live comfortably and calmly, with a place built around her needs rather than a schedule built around a show. And listening to that, I find myself thinking about how trust is sometimes practical. One plan, one journey, one welcoming space can turn the end of one life chapter into the start of a gentler one. It is one thing to read about medical breakthroughs, and another to hear about them through a person whose daily life changes in small, practical ways. Today, we are looking at a story where hope shows up as control, touch, and independence. Keith Thomas from Massapequa had a neck injury in summer 2020 and lived with paralysis from the chest down, with his ability to move his arms and hands and feel touch severely limited. The Feinstein Institutes later enrolled him in a 3-year medical trial built around a double neural bypass. Electrodes were placed in his brain to detect his intention to move his arms and hands. Sensors embedded in his fingers then sensed object presence and form, sending that information back to his brain so his grip could become more accurate and responsive. After 35 weeks of training, the results were not just measurable, they were lived. He regained functional control and sensation, including the ability to lift his hand higher, scratch his nose, and wipe his mouth. His right arm strength increased by 86%, and his left by 62%. He could also feel objects in his grip and adjust the pressure he used. What is especially striking is that some of this progress persisted even when the computer was turned off. A computer can be a bridge, but the mind can learn to walk. As the findings were shared in Nature, the takeaway is careful but real. Recovery can be shaped by partnership between biology and technology, and it can start with something as ordinary as reaching, sensing, and choosing. There's something quietly hopeful about seeing abandoned things pulled back into usefulness. Off Catalina Island, that hope has a name: Midnight Hour, and a small team willing to go down and bring it up. 15 years ago, the sunken fishing vessel Midnight Hour settled off the coast of Catalina Island, and with it came drifting, tangled fishing nets that can keep collecting more debris over time. Volunteers working with Ghost Diving USA returned to the site as part of a mission supported by Healthy Seas and Hyundai. Carefully, divers cut the netting loose and separated the materials for recycling or proper disposal, so the ocean would not have to carry that weight any longer. What stands out is how the recovery does not end at the waterline. Since Healthy Seas began this work in 2013, more than 1,300 tons of nets and marine debris have been recovered worldwide. In many places, recovered nylon can be regenerated into Econol, then turned into everyday products, including floor mats made for Hyundai models in Europe such as Ioniq, Inster, Santa Fe, and Nexo. And the partnership keeps expanding. Hyundai began supporting Healthy Seas in 2021, and the work is now operating in 10 countries through efforts like the From Sea to Shore initiative, with beach cleanups at Huntington State Beach and an Ocean Heroes workshop. It is a reminder that careful people, working consistently, can take something unwanted and reshape it into something that belongs somewhere better. As always, I have a practical little reset for you, the kind that helps your mind come back to itself and find a bit more ease in the world. Today's tip is about replacing one doom-scrolling session with intentional quiet. You know how it goes. You pick up your phone for just a minute, and suddenly you are carrying other people's headlines around like they are your own thoughts. So here's the swap. Choose one session. 1. Not forever, not all at once. Just the next time you feel the pull to open the feed, pause instead and set a simple intention. Put your phone face down somewhere you have to stand up to reach. Take 3 slow breaths. Then give yourself quiet on purpose. Sit by a window and watch the light change. Listen to one calm song all the way through. Or step outside for 2 minutes and name 5 things you can see without evaluating them. The goal is not to force positivity. The goal is to interrupt the spiral and give your nervous system a different input. Quiet is not emptiness. Quiet is space, and in space, your mind remembers what it actually wants. Try it once today and notice how you feel when the scroll stays closed. Well, friends, that is our time for this episode of 10 Better Minutes, and I am glad you made it to the end with me. If today felt heavy or loud, I hope these small flashes of good news left you with something steadier than a headline. There's still decency in the world, quiet kindness showing up in ordinary ways, and people doing the right thing even when nobody is watching. If you would like a few more grounded stories to come back to tomorrow, you can follow or subscribe. New episodes are posted every day, and they are a simple way to clear some noise. This is Ian Rhodes with 10 Better Minutes. Take care, and I will see you tomorrow.